It has been more than 50 days since Russia first attacked Ukraine. Russian missiles are now moving west, continuing their warfare, and Ukrainian officials believe forces are targeting innocent civilians. Joining us now is Professor William Muck from North Central College to break down the very latest. Professor Muck, it's always a pleasure to have you here on First at 4.
Hi, Tia. Always fun to talk politics with you.
You know, we got to talk about this. Lviv has been largely spared during this fighting, but we know 7 civilians were killed there not too long ago, a few hours ago. But since this war began, it's estimated that over 2,000 civilians have been killed at the hands of the Russian military. What can be done at this point to stop this?
That's the challenge. If a state like Russia decides that they want to intentionally target civilians, there's very little the international community can do to stop it in the short run. They can bring attention to it, and then we can talk about the legal process of war crimes tribunals, but there's very little to stop it in the short term. You can try to shame the country, and I think that's what we've seen the international community do, try to bring attention to this, talk about potential penalties down the road. But if a country is willing to do this, and I think it's fair to say that Russia is intentionally targeting civilians, it is part of the policy. It's very, very difficult to stop in the short run.
Let's talk about Mariupol. It's under siege by the Russian military. If the city falls, what does this essentially mean for Ukraine?
It would be a big loss for Ukraine because the battle has shifted from the north now to the east. And what we're seeing is that Russia is trying to take control of that territory in the east and in the south. And Mariupol, if they were able to take that, would give them essentially a land bridge to take control of eastern and largely much of southern Ukraine. And Russia ultimately may want to cut Ukraine off from the Black Sea. So this is really about access to trade, access to resources. And Russia is switching strategies to think about how do we gain more territory in the east.
Let's talk about that, kind of looking at how the Russian military has changed their tactics from the north to the east. Kyiv was the main Russian target at one point, but it's changed in recent weeks. What does that tell you about Putin's strategy?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. So what we've seen is really 2 wars play out. The first was the war for Kyiv in the north, and Ukraine they won that battle. Russia clearly lost that battle, and it was a testament to what Ukraine did, to what the West and NATO did. In the south, this is going to play much more to the advantage of Russia, the south and the east, because the territory is more open. It will be less urban conflict. And so this will really fit what Russia is good at. They've got a bigger military power. And then one of the big questions that will come from this is how committed is the United States and NATO to helping Ukraine in this matter? In some ways, the first war in Kyiv in the north was going to be much easier than what we're likely to see over the next few weeks and maybe even months in eastern Ukraine. So it's going to require a big commitment. And I think the battle is going to be much uglier than what we saw in the north. So it's a dramatic development.
And of course, we'll be watching as it all unfolds. It's always a pleasure. Professor William Muck from North Central College, thank you so much for joining us and breaking it all down. Thank you so much.